Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial in which we will see how to do multi-threading with C++. Okay, so I will use Visual Studio Express for my script. So let's just create a folder and call it tutorial. And then let's open Visual Studio. Let's create a new project, C++ project, which I want to put in my tutorial folder. Okay, and the program will be called tutorial. All right. Okay, let's leave console application, poi compile header, and finish. All right. So first of all, I need to include the libraries that I need, which are IOStream, and then thread for multi-threading. Then I need to handle unblock the different threads, so I need a mutex, and finally I need a condition variable to control the mutex. All right. I will use namespace std because I need a lot of commands from that. Then I need to create some variables, global variables, which are mutex because I need a mutex, and then condition variable cv, and finally I need a set of global variables to unblock the different threads. So, and they will be bool variables, data x initialized to 0, data z initialized to 0, and z printed initialized to 0, and finally I need some variables, global bool variables, to kill the two threads that I will create, and those two variables will be named kill t1 and kill t2. Alright, first of all I will create the function for thread number 1, so I will call it t1. It will take as an input constant for this function, so we are sure that the content will not be changed, and it will be an integer called x, and then an integer called zeta, and so in this way we will need to pass the functions by the variables by reference, as you can imagine. So this function will contain a do loop, and in this do loop will continue forever. So while 2 or while 1. Alright, then what do we want to do in this loop? So in this loop I want first to create a lock, a unique lock with mutex, and I will name this lock and it will use mutex m. So this will enable me to control the thread. Then I want to use the condition variable and wait. So when this thread will starts, a unique lock lk will be created, and then the execution of this loop will be blocked until some variable changes. So I will use lock lk for this, and here I want to unblock this unblock this thread, unlock the mutex only if either one of two variables is true. And these two variables are data x and or kill t1. Alright, so at this point, when the condition variable will get a notification, then the thread will continue its execution, and this will happen only if either data x or kill t1 are true. Alright. Don't forget the semicolon here. Alright. If the execution continues, then we need to check if data x was true. So if data x was true, then what will happen? So if the objective of this thread is to take the variable x and calculate the square. So if data x is true, it means that some variable has been placed in x, and so this multiplication can be performed. And then I can put data x equal to 0 and data z equal to 1, because at this point the zeta will be calculated. Then we can unlock the lock, because we need to let another thread start, and so we will notify until data z is true the condition variable. And so cv notify 1. Alright, then I want to create also a condition that enables me to kill this thread at the end of my program. So if kill t1 is true, then I can place it back to false, and then kill t2 becomes true. So here I actually use the 1 for true and 0 for false. It actually doesn't matter. I could also have written 1 here. Alright, so if we get to this point, then I can unlock the mutex, and then I can notify the second thread. So and I will notify the second thread until kill t2 is true. Alright. Then So if we get to this point, it means that the this thread can end its execution, so we can break the do loop. Okay, and this is how we defined the thread number thread number 1 T1. Then I want to define thread number 2, and this will take only a variable zeta, and the objective of this thread is just to print out the value of the variable. However, this thread, I want this thread to loop forever. And so in this loop, I want to use a lock, so a unique lock with mutex, and so like in the other thread, I will wait and block the execution of this thread until some variable changes. And so the variables that we need to check are the following. So that zeta and kill t2. All right. Alright, then if the execution continues, then I want to see if data z was actually true, and if it was, then we need to print out the content of zeta. After this, we can set data zeta equal to false, and we set the variable zeta printed equal to true or 1. Then we can unlock the mutex, and we can actually notify the condition variable until zeta printed is true. Alright. Okay, so like in the other case, we need to insert a condition that enables me to kill thread T2, and so if kill T2 is true, then we can set it back to false, unlock the mutex, but most importantly, we need to break the do loop of thread T2. Alright, so the idea here is that so thread T1 and thread T2 waits. Then if we place some value in x, then we set data x to true, and so thread T1 will calculate the square and will place the result to zeta. At this point, we will notify that a value is contained in zeta, and so at this point thread T2 can take zeta and output and print the value to the command line. Okay, now I want to create a script in the main function that exploits, that uses the two threads. So I will actually initialize the variable x and zeta, and then I want to create a variable c. Then I will start the two threads. I will start thread T1. I will start thread T1 using T1 function, and I want to pass the pointer to variable x to the thread T1 as a reference. So I will use cref x. Then I want to pass the pointer to zeta to the function as well. Then I want to start also the second thread, which will be based on function T2 and will take and will need the pointer to variable zeta. All right. Now I want to create a do loop, and this loop will continue until c will be different than y. So if c is equal, will be equal to y, then the loop cycle, the do loop will continue its execution. So in this loop, I needed to create a lock as well, and I will call this lock again lk, and it will use mutex m. So first of all, I needed to ask to the user to enter a value for x, and I will put the chosen value in x variable, and then set data x equal to 1, so that thread number 1 can know that a value has been placed in x, but hasn't been processed yet. Alright, so now we can unlock the mutex and notify thread and notify the threads that a value has been placed in data x. So I will put data x here, and so notify 1. All right, so at this point, so here I will create the two threads and they will wait. Here I will take control, own the lock, and place a value in x, and here I will notify the two threads. So since data zeta is equal to 0 and kill t2 is equal to 0, thread t2 will simply keep waiting. But since we set data x equal to 1, then thread T1 will continue its execution and perform the calculation of zeta. At this point, data zeta will be set equal to 1, and and thread T1 will send notifications. All right. All right. So now we need to lock the lock again, and this is really important. And here I want the main I want the main script to wait using lock lk until so the value of zeta will be printed. So here we will wait until zeta printed is set equal to 1, and this will occur when the value of zeta is actually printed. So here we will get the notification from thread T1, and since data zeta will be equal to 1, we will enter in this for condition. We will print the value of zeta, we will set zeta to 0 and set zeta printed to 1, and then we will send a notification so that the main function can continue its execution. At this point, we can set zeta printed back to 0 and ask the user whether he or she wants to continue. The chosen character will be placed in C. So if C is equal to Y, then the do loop will continue its execution. Then if C is equal to different than Y, then we need to terminate the program. So we will set kill T1 equal to 1, and we will send a notification until kill T1 is true. So at this point, thread T1 will respond. So it thread T1 will set kill T2 variable equal to 1 or true, and send notifications and break the do loop. So this notification will be received by thread T2, which will break the do loop. So then we just need to we just need to join the thread to with the main function. All right. Okay, now we just want to test this program and see if it works. In some cases, your Visual Studio will need to download something from the web. It is still downloading some symbols. Okay, now here we are asked to enter X, so we will try with 2, and we can see here that thread number 2 successfully printed the result of the square of 2. Then we are asked to continue. We want to test the 2 threads once again, and so for example let's use 3. Okay, the result is 9, and then we just want to exit from this program, and so we will choose no. Okay. Thank you for watching this tutorial in which you could see how to code a simple multi-thread program with C++. Thank you for watching and see you next time.